Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy. Without any further interruptions, enjoy the what if. Chapter 25. A crinkled leaf. He broke my sand coffin. It's that same gravitational technique of his, Gaara thought before he saw Naruto doing three-hand seals. Lightning started to crack in Naruto's right hand, before it was completely engulfed by it, the lightning producing sounds as if thousands of birds were chirping in chorus. Chidori. 1,000 birds, he exclaimed with his left hand holding the wrist of his other lightning-charged one as lightning streaks cracked around his hand, his face engulfed by the electric blue aura of the technique as dust picked up around him while the blonde activated his rinnegan, its effects this time much less noticeable to the ones around him. What is this technique? Thought Gaara as he prepared himself. Good work Naruto. We couldn't detect the chakra spike this time upon the activation of rinnegan. Your chakra control has improved, thought Kakashi with an eye smile as he saw his prized student perform his only original technique. Here we go, thought Naruto as he could see Gaara's Yuki flowing through his sand before he dashed towards the stunned Suna Jinchuriki at blazing speeds, making dust wildly trail behind him while Gaara's red sand came up just in time to clash with the chirping lightning technique. Squelch. Genma opened his eyes which he had closed because of the dust to see Naruto's lightning crackling hand completely passing through Gaara's defense and embedded into his right shoulder, from which blood now was dripping while the sand user had a stunned look on his face. Naruto's hand, still streaking with electricity, was on the other side of Gaara's shoulder, who still wasn't moving, with his eyes as wide as possible. Gaara, and no, muttered Temari in a quivering voice while Baki too had his eyes wide. Blood, my blood, no, thought Gaara as his emotions began to dwindle wildly, making sand react to it with Naruto's hand still flaring with electricity, his blood-quelching hand passing through the right shoulder of Gaara. Blood, mother, my blood, no way, said Gaara to himself in his still demonic voice as he continued to stare at the sight of his blood dripping like it was something foreign, something never seen before. Naruto's eyes widened though when he felt the yukified sand constrict around his arm and the other two sand hands coming from both sides of him. It was like Gaara was controlling them subconsciously. The blonde cursed silently as he closed his eyes, and at the same time closing his bloody hand into a fist which was covered with lightning. Chidori Nagashi. 1,000 birds current, he exclaimed quietly as electricity began to course through Gaara's body. And then came the ear-deafening demonic scream of Gaara, making him slowly lose control as sand began to wildly rotate around the pair, the wall constricting more around his arm, making Naruto wince in pain. Slamming his other hand on the sand wall of the screaming Gaara, he yelled while spiking his chakra just for a second. Shinra Tensei. BHHOOOOM. Gaara flew back at tremendous velocity while flipping over several times in midair, with even his sand not being able to keep up with him, while Naruto too skidded back at high speeds because of some of the technique rebounding on him as he dug his kunai in the dirt to stop himself. Wham! Gaara crashed into several trees, where an area of foliage was placed in the battlefield, and went sailing through like a rag doll before he collided with the wall violently, blood spitting out of his mouth as now the sand caught up to him, whereas a large crater now adorned the point of impact. Chidori, I see. Naruto used lightning's tremendous penetrating power as well as his own momentum to seep through his defense. Good thinking Gaki, thought with a smirk while Hiruzen was having same thoughts, whereas Orochimaru had an impressed look in his eyes. That gravitational technique, such raw power. This is much stronger than the one Naruto used a few minutes ago, thought Mei as she stared at the now still form of Naruto, in front of whom were deep skidding foot marks with large amount of dust covering the trailing path of both Naruto and Gaara. Phew, it was getting a bit tight there. But this sand of him, it's creating a lot of damn irritating dust here, thought Naruto as he coughed several times before using small wind jutsu to get rid of it, at least from him. What? He further thought in immense surprise when he saw a blue sheen layer of chakra beginning to slowly form and spread over the stands of the stadium where people were sitting. Forests on the outskirts of Konoha. All right, keep yourselves ready. It's about time. yelled one man who had the Iowa symbol engraved on his Hittite and was wearing a standard Junin outfit along with many of the shinobi spread over the area there, which was just half a mile away from Konoha's north gate. There were a few dead bodies of Chunins, who were on their patrol guard duty when they were attacked by these hordes of Iowa and Odo shinobi. Meanwhile, there was a large summoning seal in a clearing with several Odo nins there sitting on its circumference as they waited for the signal to arrive. Konoha. Main Event Stadium. I told you, Ayumi-chan. Damn. I knew this was a bad day, he blabbered inside his head to his tenant. First, he had seen the whole stand being affected by a genjutsu as the civilians had begun to fall asleep while the shinobi part in the stands had easily broken out of the jutsu. And that's when all hell had broken loose as suddenly some Iowa and Odo shinobi, who were disguised as civilians, had started to attack the Konoha nins there. Just calm down, okay? Look around you, the village is under attack here, Naruto-kun. She spoke as Naruto started to scan his surroundings, occasionally dodging randomly thrown kunai, shuriken or even paper bomb tags as he drifted around the now sandy battle area. Up there, he noticed that the Fire Queens except Kurenai, Kushina and Guy were practically ripping through the Odo and Iowa forces, making his eyes widen. Iowa and Odo, what's going on here? Thought Naruto as he continued to look wide-eyed around him. Ino, Sakura, Shino were now being aided by Kakashi and Kurenai in fighting, whom most probably were Junin level. Hinata, Kin and other contestants were having their share of battles too, with exception of Temari and Kankuro. Where were they? Naruto-kun. Look up there. Upon hearing her voice, he looked up for his eyes to widen. There up on the roofs was a large four-corner ceiling barrier, but who were on the inside was what made his breathing hitch in his throat. There inside the structure were all the 4 cages. No, wait. There was Mei, his Gigi. But the last one he quite didn't recognize from the distance. Applying Yuki to his eyes, enhancing his sight by several factors. That bastard, he growled while clenching his fists. It was Orochimaru who had the tip of a kunai on Hiruzen's neck while there was another well-built man standing besides him. Flipping back, Naruto dodged a kunai which was aimed for him. Well, I'm surprised you were able to hurt Gaara. Looking over the man, Naruto recognized the shinobi known as Baki, Junin sensei of Gaara's team, whom he had met once during the month. Baki-san, why did you attack me? Asked Naruto with narrowed eyes as he took out a kunai before suddenly Genma sunshined in front of him. Uzumaki, Naruto, listen carefully here. Our village is under attack by Iowa, Odo and Suna, said the Senbon chewing proctor, making the blonde's eyes widen in shock. Suna too? No way. Then that means Temari. She was hiding this much from me, he thought with a bit of broken look on his face. He liked her very much. She was always smiling with him, they had spent so much time together along with Kin and Hinata. It was like a trust had been created between them, for they shared everything between themselves. But it could be that she was forced to do this. I always felt like she wanted to tell me something. Can I know that she isn't part of this, considering that she herself hates her village and Orochimaru, he thought as Genma started to speak, when suddenly a bruised Kiba landed between them with Akamaru. Naruto, what's going on here? Asked the Inuzuka as he stared around in panic and with a bit of fear. Inuzuka, Kiba, as I said before, our village is under attack by Iowa, Odo and Suna. And as a shinobi of superior rank, I order you to gather the other rookie genins except Uzumaki, Naruto, and help in the evacuation of as many civilians as possible, he said, making Kiba nod a bit hesitantly when he felt a hand on his shoulder. Kiba, don't worry, man. They can't take down the leaf that easily, you know. Just give your best so that I don't have to save your ass again, said Naruto with a smirk while noticing that Genma and Baki had started fighting. You bet, loser, exclaimed Kiba with a smirk, determination in his eyes as he jumped out of there, whereas Naruto chuckled while muttering, dog breath. Looking up, he gazed towards Kushina, who was fighting the enemies like wolfing down her ramen, when she suddenly turned to look at him after defeating one Odo Junin, her eyes filled with worry for him as Naruto smiled reassuringly at her before he saw her tap her side neck with 2 index fingers. Naru-kun, are you alright? He heard Kushina's voice over the telepathic link that she had opened using the Ushio curse seal. I'm completely fine, Ka-san. But Konoha's under invasion, isn't it? He asked more as a statement than anything. Hi. But listen carefully here Naruto, if you have to, then go all out. Stay safe Narukoi and try to save as many people as you can. I have to go now. He heard her speak frantically before she cut the link when suddenly Kushina ducked under a punch to leave a wild uppercut for the Odo one to taste. Boom! Snapping his head to his side, Naruto's eyes widened when he saw a huge surge of red chakra along with an explosion where Gaara was previously slammed into. Focusing his rinnegan, he saw that it was indeed Gaara who was the cause of the blast, which had wiped out several trees off their barks. There's no way. He again heard the familiar demonic voice coming through the explosion-induced dust for it to slowly reveal a pretty disproportionate shadow. His hands, no his body, what happened to him? I surely didn't hit him that hard for his shadow to look like this, thought Naruto with a silly chuckle. Though he could see from the rinnegan that large amount of Yuki was coursing through him, healing his wounds at astounding rates. The dust slowly cleared up to show a partially transformed demonic Gaara with an angry look in his face. His half of the body was covered in sand as he continued to raise the amount of chakra. There's no way that I'm gonna lose to you, he yelled demonically as suddenly red chakra, now visible, started to wildly rotate around him. What's happening? Said Naruto inwardly as he calmly watched the Suna Jinchuriki going berserk. He's transforming further Naruto-kun, be careful, spoke Ayumi making him nod as he dodged yet round of explosive tags and shuriken which were coming from random directions from the stands, resulting in several explosions one after another as now the battle area truly looked like a war zone. Poof! Controlling his skidding body, he turned his head to see a large amount of smoke where Gaara was previously standing. The sudden flow of wind cleared up the smoke to reveal a humongous creature which looked to be made up of sand, one tail swishing behind it while there were numerous blue curved marks all over on it. Holy shit, I never would have imagined Gaara capable of taking this form, spoke Naruto inwardly with a surprised expression. Well, aside from the mental stress which Shukaku gifts his jailer with, its power is the easiest to control among the 9 Biju, spoke Ayumi with a nod. Kami, this kid is going berserk out there, muttered Anko to herself as she stared wide-eyed along with every other Konoha nin in the stadium at the giant tanuki which was reaching to the top of the stands. Kushina nay, will Naruto-kun be able to handle himself? Said Yugao in between her fighting with the Odo nins. Don't worry, he should be able to handle the one-tailed Jinchuriki there, let's just finish these bastards quickly and help the others, said Kushina as she killed another 2 Junins swiftly before glancing towards the ceiling barrier. Main event stadium 4-corner ceiling barrier. Orochimaru, you bastard, I knew you were up to something, growled as he clenched his fists while Mei was standing besides him on the tiled roof with a frown on her beautiful face. What is the meaning of this? Surely you can't attack directly on the strongest elemental village of the world and hope to win, said the Mizukage with a calculative gaze, making the snake Sannin, who right now was holding Hiruzen with a kunai on his neck, chuckle creepily. Kukuku. Oh, you'll see Mizukage, you'll see. I not only have the power of Odo but also the support of Suna and Iwa, he said, making the eyes of the 3 Kages widen in shock. Iwa too, the one standing besides Orochimaru, does have the Iwa Protectora, though he seems way too quiet while his eyes, they are hollow, like they are devoid of any life. And I thought he must be a missing nin considering his Hittite has a slash across it, she thought with a stunned expression as now both Mei and A had discarded their formal robes. Well, Suna was expected considering its financial decline because of lack of any missions. But I didn't expect that damn old fart of a Tsuchikage to support Orochimaru in this madness, thought the Raikage with a frown when he glanced sideways in the direction of where Darui, Yugito and Team B were taking care of the enemies. Orochimaru. Why are you doing this? Said Sarutobi with gritted teeth while his tone held a bit of sadness. Oh come on sensei, I just came here to greet my old village. I have many fond memories here, you know, though I wish I could say hello to Jiraiya and Tsunade too. But oh well, meeting my sensei is enough for me, said the snake Sannin, who was now wearing the Odo robes while the Sound 4 were holding the barrier. Amongst the Sound 4, on one corner was standing a redhead teenager with a fiery beauty, a frown on her face as she continuously turned her head, as if she was searching for something. Kin-chan, where the fuck are you? Muttered the redhead with concern in his voice while A, inside the barrier, was staring towards the unknown man. And you, who are you anyway? said the Raikage while pointing his finger towards the quiet red-haired Iowa shinobi who was just staring forward with empty eyes. Oh Hima. Well, he's just a special arrangement for Naruto-kun, said the Sannin with a sinister smirk, making the three Kage's eyes widen as they glanced towards the blurry form of Naruto who was engaging the transformed Gaara in his Biju state. What do you want with him, you bastard? Asked Mei with narrowed eyes as she took out a kunai while A's hands too started to crack with electricity. Why Yua? What could you possibly gain from Naruto-kun now? He doesn't possess the curse seal anymore, eh? Isn't attacking Konoha enough for you? Said Sarutobi before he suddenly started to turn brown, making Orochimaru's eyes widen as he loosened his grip on the Hokage before jumping back. The old Kami no Shinobi turned into mud before falling to the roof, only to appear besides the Raikage with his battle robes, a frown on the usually old and serene face. Oha. Still haven't lost it, I see. Those old bones still has that pathetic will of fire, I guess, said Orochimaru with a smirk while the three Kages got ready. It's about time I rid your existence of this world, Orochimaru, something which I should have done years ago. I have made many mistakes, but this time I wouldn't hesitate, said Hiruzen with a dead serious expression on his face as he remembered the mistakes he had made concerning Naruto. Nah. You're right there, Hokage Danoa. Let's finish this once and for all, said A with a smirk while Mei glanced worriedly in the direction of Naruto who was dodging several swipes, swings, punches, sand shurikens sending shockwaves through the battle area below, which was now looking like a desert with Shukaku in the middle of it. Ma. It seems that the Suna Jinchuriki has given control to its inner demona. This is not good. If it goes on a rampage from here, Konoha will truly be in danger, she thought with a frown. Konoha. West Gate, Kaden. Gukuk Yu no Jutsu. Fire release. Great fireball technique, exclaimed one Anbu, standing on the roof of a random building as he fired off a huge fireball in the face of a large summoning snake which had crashed through the West Gate like it was a piece of butter. Futon. Kami Katanami no Jutsu, wind release. Divine wave cutter, yelled Asuma who had rushed to the West Gate when he saw Kushina and the other elite Junins handling things there in the stadium as he blew a chakra-enhanced wave of wind from his mouth. The wind-natured attack mixed with the fire one, enhancing the fire attack due to its supportive nature as the fireball grew in size as well as intensity, completely incinerating the snake summon as it puffed back into smoke. Meanwhile, the other Junins, Chunins and Anbu were fighting the Iowa, Oto and Suna shinobi who had used the snake summon as a diversion and had entered through the broken defense. Halt them down. Don't let them get past this border district, yelled Ibiki who was standing on one of the roofs as he observed the battle taking place with a frown. This is getting bada. The Oto and Suna ones are not that strong, but these Iowa ones are really using the earth element to their advantage here, he thought before Asuma appeared besides him. Come on you Gaisa, let's avenge our fallen comrades whom the vile Yondaime of this village killed mercilessly, let's show them the wrath of the earth country, yelled one of the random Iowa shinobi whose group were using one earth technique after another. Doden. Kajugen no Jutsu, earth release. Weighted rock technique, one of the Iowa nin yelled who was standing on the border wall before rubbles of fallen chunks of concrete because of the destruction began to hover in midair. Changing the hand seal from rooster to snake, he poured more chakra as several large dusty rocks flew at high speeds towards numerous Konoha nin. Crash. Aahhh. Came the shouts of random shinobi who were hit by the boulders, dying instantly while most of them were injured due to not being completely able to dodge them. Ibikia. We have to do something quick. These Iowa ones are no joke, said Asuma with a serious expression while Ibiki nodded with a calm expression as the Konoha shinobi still continued to fight if barely. Ibiki-san. Both of them turned their heads to see a Chunin behind them. Report, said Ibiki with a serious aura around him. We have the same situations on the north, south and the east gates. They are attacking from all the directions. The Genins are already busy evacuating the civilians but we need more time before the reinforcements can arrive. Right now, only our basic defense force is on the gates, but the Nara, Yamanaka, Akamichi, Inazuka and the Hyuga clans are busy organizing their forces. Alright. Inform everybody guarding the gates to stall the enemies for as long as possible, ordered Ibiki in a firm voice, making the Chunin nod before he shunshined out. Konoha. Main event stadium. Boom. Another explosion due to one of Shukaku's attacks rocked the arena as its tail too wasn't left behind while Naruto continued to dodge as well as throw jutsus one after another, none of them affecting the one-tail Biju. Puny mortal, stop so I can kill you like the pest you area. Ha 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 ha, blabbered the Biju who was right now in control of his self-induced sleeping host. Shit, why wouldn't this thing just shut up for once? Muttered Naruto who was standing sideways on the stadium wall while on the inside Ayumi was getting angry and angrier by the second. That bastard, we were going easy on him and he dare say that to me and Naruto-kun. I'm gonna show him who's the puny mortal. Naruto, she said with her voice getting demonic as Naruto could feel more and more Yuki being pushed from the seal in his coils. Why yes, he replied nervously. Forget about waking that kid up. Give me control for a second here. I'm gonna teach this overgrown raccoon with a nut-sized brain a lesson, she yelled inside his mindscape as he nodded nonetheless. He knew that demons had pride, and when it came to defending Ida, especially when it was concerning Ayumi, he dare not decline her. I'll write a dog but give me a minute please, he said in a bit of pleading tone cause he knew that she was angry by Shukaku's constant insults before dodging yet another one of the Biju's concentrated blasts of wind resulting in a large hole in the wall. Ha 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 whoohoo. Stop moving you insecta, I'm gonna kill you, screamed the crazy Biju while laughing maniacally resulting in a tick mark on Ayumi's forehead. Ah! Fuck you, screamed Hana as she kicked another Junin in the gut sending him flying into the wall. Where do these idiots keep coming from anyway? We have to help Naru-kun fight that Jinchuriki, asked Anko in frustration as they continued to fight the Junins while Kurenai was using the naked guy genjutsu on the enemies making them scream in horror. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, yelled Kushina while putting large amounts of chakra in the Technicaea, large amount for an average shinobi at least. The result was hundreds of red-haired kunoichi filling the stands making the Fire Queens look in awe before a grin threatened to split their faces. Wella, that should do it, muttered Yugao with a smile as she had forgotten from where Naruto had inherited the ability while Kushina's clones started to take on the Junins. Being the cage-level kunoichi she was, her shadow clones were easily kicking their asses. Ka-san really is awesome, said Naruto with a smile before his face grew serious. The whole of the village is being attacked, so they have probably broken through the 4 gates of our village. I have to know what's going on out there too, he thought before spiking his chakra just like Kushina. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, he yelled as just like Kushina, hundreds of blonde doppelgangers appeared in puffs of smoke, filling the desert area. Alright, listen here guys, I want you to spread across the village and help in fighting the enemies as well as evacuating the civilians, he screamed when everyone heard shouts of, Yosh! And, you're on it! Before the clones jumped over the wall in different directions. Ayumi-chan, push some of your chakra through the seal will ya? Asked Naruto as he immediately could feel the Yuki flowing through his coils. Now here comes the next parta, he muttered to himself before biting his thumb to draw blood. Going through several set of hand seals, he yelled a Kuchio's no Jutsu, before slamming his right hand on the ground resulting in a large puff of smoke, almost as large as Shukaku was making it noticeably blink in surprise. Who summoned me? Came a deep booming voice from the smoke screen, which sounded a bit irritated. Ah Tianlong-sama, it's me Naruto, came the voice of the blonde while Shukaku was blinking in confusion, its tail anxiously swishing behind him as he waited for the smoke to clear down. That guy, he really is reckless, said Hana with a smirk as she glanced sideways while dodging a kunai swipe. Stay still you bitch, yelled the Oto Junin in frustration making Hana narrow her eyes at the racist comment before she moved at blinding speeds to appear in front of him. Crack, Kakashi's face paled as his thighs involuntarily closed, the guy's nuts getting punctured as Hana used the Fire Queen's famous attack. The Oto Junin's mouth was formed in an O shape as he slowly fell to the ground in unimaginable pain. There. Now I'm standing still you asshole, said Hana with a smirk while Kushina grinned at them in pride. Sene ta Jashu, multiple hidden shadow snake hands, Anko yelled as a large number of black snakes emerged from the sleeves of her trenchcoat to swarm upon the terrified Junins, engulfing them as within seconds they were killed due to the poison. Nice work Anko-chan, said Kushina with a smile as they dashed towards another group of Suna ones which had just arrived. Wow, Naru-kun is awesome. Look at that huge thing, said Anko in her usual enthusiastic tone as they dashed through the stands where civilians were sleeping while Kushina glanced in the direction of where the four-corner ceiling barrier was, her Sharingan activated before her eyes widened at what she saw. I have to hurry quickly and aid them up there. Who knows what that snake freak has under his sleeves? Naru-kun will handle the one-tailed Jinchuriki easily, so I don't have to worry about him, she thought with a serious expression as they began to attack the enemies mercilessly. Who the fuck is Naruto anyway? The summoned creature said with a grunt, making Naruto's eyebrows twitch in irritation. Chialong-sama, I really don't have time for this. There's a reason I summoned you here, you know, he said as the smoke slowly cleared to show a huge blurry figure, which looked to be blue as the smoke continued to clear up slowly. Ahahaha. Come on kid, you gotta laugh once in a while, you know, you're too dull. Don't you have a girlfriend or something? You seriously need to get laid. Ha. The creature laughed, his voice reverberating through the stadium, making Shukaku, who was uncharacteristically quiet, raise an invisible eyebrow at the summon before his eyes widened when he saw the huge figure completely. For in front of him was a giant blue dragon, almost equaling his height, with Naruto standing on top of its head. The mythical creature had two large wings with large glowing yellow bolts imprinted on each of them, 3 sharp claws on each 4 limbs, its teeth razor sharp as 2 fangs protruded out of his mouth, pale yellow scales on the frontal part of his body, while his eyes were a light shade of yellow with black slits in each of them, along with several battle scars on his body. Meanwhile Naruto's eyebrows were twitching dangerously. It was always like this. The dragon never left any opportunity to piss him off. And he was not virgin, alright. He was gonna reply back when he heard a growl inside his head. Naruto, I'm losing my fucking patience here, he heard before deciding to step things up. Look around you, this is seriously no time for jokes. Konoha is under attack and I need your help, Chialong-sama, said the blonde Jinchuriki, making the dragon's eyes widened as he now took in his surroundings. Gaki, what is Shukaku doing here? No wait, that kid on the top, he must be its Jinchuriki, then I guess he's given control to Shukaku. But, who could have dared attack Konoha directly, said Chialong, making Naruto nod seriously. It's Orochimaru and he has the support of Suna and Iwa this time. Things are really looking grave, said Naruto while clenching his fists in anger, as since a few minutes ago, he had started receiving memories from the shadow clones who were working as just information gatherers and was not pleased by what he saw. Alright Gaki, guess I'll be taking on Shukaku this time, said Tianlong with a smirk as he prepared to duel with the Biju, no fear in his eyes, while Naruto just sighed, his spiky locks of blonde hair and trenchcoat flowing with the light breeze along with the sand which had filled the area. No, Tianlong-sama, I want you to go out there and help the others. Although Ero Sennin has summoned Gamabunta-sama and is currently helping them, but it is not enough for the sheer number of forces that are putting pressure on the defense line. Besides, your lightning attacks would be extremely effective against the Iwa forces, which are proving to be the real threat. I can handle Shukaku here, said Naruto with a dead serious expression, as he expected the dragon to immediately yell in protest or straight out deny his request, but Tianlong just staying silent really surprised him. Fine then, said the summoned creature after a few seconds of silence, making Naruto stumble back in shock, for he knew how prideful dragons were, and just sending them to fight some puny shinobi, as they call them, instead of some another strong entity like Shukaku should have greatly angered Tianlong. But he knew that Shukaku's wind attacks would easily defeat the lightning attacks of Tianlong. What? No lashing, no protest, no cursing, exclaimed Naruto, making Tianlong chuckle in amusement. You should know, kid, we dragons, although prideful, are extremely loyal to our Uzumaki summoners. There's a bond of trust, friendship and understanding that develops between a summoner and the summoned, so if I or you don't trust your mind decisions, then it will never work, Naruto, said the usually carefree dragon wisely, making Naruto nod at him, his respect for the lightning-type dragon going higher at that instant. Will you idiots quit yapping and fight? I only waited this long so that at least I could get a decent fight and enjoy my temporary freedom, yelled Shukaku in frustration, making Tianlong snort in annoyance at him. Jump kid and leave a shadow clone to guide me. I'm off to my mission, muttered the dragon in his gruff voice, making Naruto nod gratefully with a smile before he summoned a shadow clone who nodded at him. Jumping off the dragon, he landed gracefully on the sand while Shukaku's eyes widened as Tianlong started to flap his wings, creating powerful gusts of wind across the stadium before the dragon took off at surprising speeds for its large size. Huh, where's that kick-ass dragon going? I thought it was going to kick that irritating Shukaku's ass, said Enko in between her fighting questioningly. Naruto-kun must have sent it to aid the others in defending the village. The stadium is not the only place being attacked, you know, said Kurenai as she trapped one after another Junins in genjutsu before swiftly killing them while A's and Mei's companions too were fighting on the other part of the stadium. Kuchio's number jutsu. Watatsumi no ka taikibi in. Summoning technique. Imperial guards of the sea god, came the voice of Naruto as several puffs of smoke filled the area around him. Mizuchi, I want you to take your group here and aid Konoha in fighting off the Iwa, Oto and Suna shinobi who are invading the village right now. And no questions right now. I'm in a hurry here. The rest of the things my Kage Bunshin would explain to you guys on the way, said Naruto while he summoned a shadow clone, whereas the summoned ones just blinked in surprise and confusion. What was with the hurry? Usually Naruto was cheerful whenever he summoned them, but this was the first time they were seeing him this serious. His normally bright blue eyes were now icy cold ones which were filled with utter seriousness. All right Naruto, I understand, said Mizuchi, a red dragon having a typical dragon body with the only difference of one claw on each feet and hands, unlike Tianlong, pale yellow scales, a glowing light blue insignia of wind on both his wings signifying him as a wind-type dragon, while on the back he had a black Uzumaki's swirling sign, his size almost double to that of Naruto, while the other 20 to 30 dragons were equaling Naruto's height. Most of them were of different colors, had different tastes, different attires, as some of them had eye patches in one of their eyes, some having katanas strapped to their backs, some having sunglasses which had made Naruto crack up the first time he had seen those ones, some wearing a kind of black cloth coverings which covered their scales. Their upper body almost, some of them had armors with strange triangular rusted shields on their backs, but the blonde knew what those defenses were capable of. Moo, Naruto-sama looks so cute even when he's serious, said one feminine dragon who was pinkish red in color. Her bright shining eyes were a beautiful shade of green with black slits, while her scales were oceanic blue in color, whereas there was a red scarf wrapped around her neck on which was the stitched Uzumaki swirling sign, giving her the title of the most cute female dragon. And she was extremely cute considering how Kushina and the Fire Queens had almost hugged her to death when they had met her a few weeks ago. Meanwhile she was watching Naruto with admiration, her size probably the smallest among the other dragons but still on the level of Naruto. Oh, clamp on it, Kiyohime. Everything about him is cute to you, said a dragon standing beside her who was a light shade of brown in color, his scales typical pale yellow in color, while his reddish slitted eyes showed irritation as the dragon flapped his wings to dust off the sand which had accumulated because of the wind. That was Maya and Koryu-kun, she whined, making Koryu roll his eyes at her antics, their voices strangely sounding very human without the typical roughness that dragons usually possessed. HMPH. You just wait, right now I may be a rookie claw. But one day I'm gonna pass through the Tri-Clapper Claw and ascend to the 5th blaze. Then I too will possess a human form just like other female dragons, and then, she squealed with her clawed hands on her face, squeal. Was that a squeal, really? Naruto-sama and Mei will, she again squealed while shaking her head, a dark blush now visible on her face. Kiyohime-chan. She snapped her head out of her daydreams when she heard a familiar voice, her blush darkening when she saw who it was. Naruto-sama, she exclaimed while stumbling back a bit, making him sweat drop. You might want to go. Everybody else has gone, he said while pointing a thumb at the retreating group of flying dragons, making her sputter incoherently as she started to flap her wings. Oh oi, wait for me guys, she said before taking off with a whoosh, leaving floating dust behind. See you later Naruto-sama, and please be safe. Her voice came, making Naruto smile. It immediately faltered though when he saw Shukaku in front of him sleeping, its snores-inducing dust around making Naruto sweat drop. Wow, what a sight, a Biju and its host sleeping together peacefully, he said while Ayumi's eyebrows were twitching dangerously when she saw the raccoon sleeping like nothing was happening around him. That Sandball piece of dried up shit. I'm gonna kick his testicles into the next orbit so hard he'll forget he ever had them, she muttered with gritted teeth, making Naruto cringe at what she had said. I don't think he has testicles anyway, he said, making her freeze in between her rants. That's what I deduced just now, you didn't need to tell me though, he sweat dropped at her antics. Who were they, Kushina-ne? Asked Yugao in confusion as she pointed towards the retreating group of reptiles as she continued to fight, content with just using taijutsu. Those dragons. They're what they call the Imperial Guards of Watatsumi-sama, with Mizuchi being their commander, replied Kushina as her clones unleashed a barrage of water techniques upon the incoming Junins who were climbing the stadium wall. Watatsumi? Asked Kurenai with a raised eyebrow while she along with other fire queens continued to fight, with Kakashi and Guy having their own competition going on. Yeah, he's the boss summon for the water-type dragons, while those dragons you asked about act as his protectors, she replied, making her nod in understanding while Hana had began to unleash her clan techniques, though she now regretted leaving her three partners back in the clan compound. With Naruto, who was taking in the scenes around him, noticed that Baki and Genma were still going at it. It looked like both were equal in skills. Deciding on giving Genma some advantage, he stretched his palm in the direction of Baki's back before muttering. Shinra Tensai. What? Exclaimed Baki as he now found himself flying at blinding speeds towards a standing still Genma who had his right fist readied for a punch. What's happening here? Must apply wind chakra. What? This is not working. Kawarimi. Yeah, that should. Whoa, oh shit, too late. Wham. Crack. Genma's fist crashed into Baki's jaw, followed by an audible crunch as the Suna's Junin's bloody teeth flew out like some fairy tale bed story. The after effects of the punch were Baki still flying forward due to the momentum, only this time his body was spiraling up and down at whooping speeds, the Junin unconscious midway in his flat trajectory before he collided violently into the concrete wall upside down, his body embedded into it as chunks of cement flew out. Meanwhile Tamari and Kankuro were still in hiding while the other Genins, including Kin, who had insisted to help, had gone to help in evacuating civilians and academy students. Nice work, Naruto. But that was some force you applied on him. Ow, said Genma with a smile as he shook his right fist to shake off the numbness while the blonde just grinned before giving Genma a thumbs up. That was one heck of a punch, Dadbeo, said Naruto, making Genma shake his head at the blonde prankmaster's antics. Well, there was still some of Kushina's personality left in him at least. Fuck Dadbeo, Naruto, I'm tired of waiting here. He held his head as Ayumi's booming voice shook the cores of his mindscape before he immediately tapped the Uzumaki seal with his chakra-laced index fingers. Kai! He exclaimed as the seal started glowing red. Alright, I've activated the seal now, Ayumi-chan, said Naruto as immediately he could feel an inward pull before he went with it. What Ayumi had forgotten to tell Naruto and Kushina, but had later told them, was that via her self-created Uzumaki curse seal, she could take control of Naruto's body temporarily, that is if he wanted her to, of course. Shukaku's and almost everyone's eyes widened in the village though when they felt a huge chakra spike. The chakra being of that same malevolent and evil nature. Naruto's body was immediately flaring in Yuki as his features started to turn animalistic, his eyes blood red with black slits as black outline formed around his eyes. A larger crater formed beneath the Ayumified Naruto due to mind-boggling chakra pressure as two red chakra tails sprouted from his hips. Grrrrllrrll. Ah, it's good to be free for once. Thanks, Naruto-kun, came a feminine voice from Naruto, while Shukaku though had a look of fear on his face as he now recognized what had just happened. Puff, how did you get out? Seeing Naruto standing beside her, she asked him in shock. The same way you did. Used my chakra and a cage bunshin to transfer my soul. Just wanted to see the live action, you know, he said with a smirk, making the other Ayumified Naruto smirk back at him. Whoa, I really do look scary in Yuki mode. Oh well, but at least better than Gaara though, thought Naruto as he jumped back a bit. What's he doing releasing that much amount of chakra, Kushina-ne? Asked Kurenai with widened eyes as all the fights had stopped when they had felt a chakra spike. I don't know, mumbled Kushina as she watched the transformed Naruto intently, confused that he would be making a shadow clone just to make it jump back. What are you up to, Naruto? thought Kakashi as he could see Yuki being the dominant chakra type flowing through Naruto's coils right then with his Sharingan. What's he doing? Is he losing control? Asked Yugito while B remained uncharacteristically quiet as he observed the transformed Naruto. Main Event Stadium. Four-corner ceiling barrier. Ah, it seems Kyuubi is taking over Naruto-kun. Don't you think so, sensei? Said Orochimaru to Hiruzen, both of whom had their kunai clinging against each other with sparks flying in random directions. Don't underestimate that boy Orochimaru, he's far stronger than you think, said Hiruzen with a smirk. We'll see how he goes up against Roshi of the lava release. And then there's Sasuke-kun too, the snake said before both of them jumped back and skidded to a halt while the now defined Roshi was standing still, his eyes still looking empty. Yukai no Jutsu, lava release. Melting specter technique, yelled Mei as she released concentrated blasts of lava towards her target. Sweden. Tsujineki, water release. Water encampment wall, came the familiar voice as a giant water wall rose up to block the lava attack. Raiden. Raryuden no Jutsu. Lightning release. Lightning dragon projectile technique, screamed the Raikage as a blue dragon made up of lightning shot at mind-boggling speeds the familiar water user. Mokuden. Moku Hisoku Cabe, wood release. Wood obstruction wall, came another familiar voice as a large thick wood wall erupted from the roof to effectively block the lightning attack. Hiruzen's eyes saddened as he stared at the figures whom Mei and A were fighting with. Hashirama-sensei, Tobirama-sensei, I never thought the day would come where Konoha would have to fight against you too. And it's all because of my foolish student. I'm sorry, please forgive me for I have made so many mistakes in my life. I could not be the leader you guys dreamed of me to become. But now I must kill Orochimaru, something which I should have done a few years ago, thought Hiruzen as he saw the Shodaime and Nadaime, who were revived by the use of Edo Tensei, fight in perfect sync with the Mizukage and the Raikage. Who had never fought alongside each other, and hence their teamwork against the two legendary Kages and brothers was kinda sloppy. Meanwhile A, who had his lightning armor activated, was getting frustrated cause no matter how many times he hit them, they just kept coming for more. Taijutsu was not effective considering their lost limbs or broken bones just regenerated at astounding rates. Moreover, fighting the Shodaime and Nadaime of Konoha is something on a whole other level, he thought with a smirk while Mei was gritting her teeth. Both of them have almost flawless teamwork. Whenever Raikage tries to attack the Nadaime Hokage to take advantage of his lightning element against the water one, the Shodaime interrupts and renders the attack useless with his wood element. And the same is happening with me, she thought before gazing worriedly at Naruto. But to be able to help him, she had to defeat Orochimaru here first. Main Event Stadium. Battlefield. Oh, and Ayumi-chan, please hurry, for you know the effects of you being in my body for a long time, said Naruto seriously, who was standing several meters behind her while she nodded. Yeah, I know. This wouldn't take long anyway, right Shukaku-kun? Said the Ayumified Naruto in a sickly sweet voice, who was on all fours, the red chakra still flaring around her in tendrils, making Shukaku gulp nervously, for he knew just who was talking to him this time. It sure wasn't that blonde kid from earlier. The one in front of him may be just the size of an ant to him. But the amount of power coming out of Ayumi, Naruto, was telling the raccoon that size didn't matter in this fight. HKQ-chan, said the one-tailed beast weakly as he involuntarily backed away a bit while Gaara continued to sleep peacefully. Wham! Crash! Shukaku miraculously crashed into a wall after being lifted into air, courtesy of an extremely fast punch of Yuki coming out of Ayumi's Naruto stomach. Its impact thunderous, leaving someone watching only to imagine just how powerful was that one punch made of chakra was to knock a Biju of its feet. And I hate that name. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as well as checking out the author on fanfiction.net.